After a long afternoon in Brooklyn, Michigan, there were 3 lead changes on the last lap. Jimmie Johnson looked like he had the race won after dominating. He ran out of gas. Then Greg Biffle, he took over the lead from Johnson. Looked like it was going to be his win, but no. He ran out of gas, and here comes 50-year-old Mark Martin for a very unlikely 3rd win of the season in dramatic fashion, and it is Chevy and Hendrick Motorsports who brings the bragging rights home from the backyard of Detroit, Michigan, the Michigan International Speedway. Hello, everybody, and welcome to NASCAR Victory Lane on Speed. And you know what? You just have to be there at the end to win. Mark Martin proved that today. 3rd place car going into the last lap, and he only led 1.
And you know, fans, if you watch the race, you have to be very upset in the way it transpired. The 48 car just absolutely total domination. That much short on gas. Mark Martin in the right position, being in 3rd, saving the fuel. Greg Biffle making a drive at the end. End of the day, the old veteran got it.
I'm going to tell you what, this is the year of Mark the Kid Martin. I mean, that's all there is to it. And I think what's going to stand out to me is, you know, in the record books, it will say Mark Martin led the last lap. Well, hold on now. Let's be technical. I think Spence, he led the lap. It was less than a half a lap.
Right.
He takes the lead going into turn 3, past the halfway mark down the backstretch. Pretty exciting deal here in Michigan.
Yeah, unofficial calculation right now had Jimmie Johnson leading about 143 laps. That was, or 145 laps, and that is total domination of a race. And normally at Michigan, when a driver leads the most laps, he goes on to win. But that wasn't the case today. It was his teammate, Mark Martin, who just got a little bit more, stretched that field just a little bit further.
Well, there's a lot to be said. You know, last week at Pocono, we saw Tony Stewart conserve. And in turn, by him conserving, he ends up winning. The 48 ran out of fuel last week and went from 2nd to like 7th or 8th. Same thing happened again. So, you know, Jimmie Johnson, very aggressive on the pedal. End result, he gives it to his teammate, Mark Martin. And you know what, Kenny? Another guy saving fuel, the 24, he gets 2nd.
Yeah, and that's a good run for Hendrick Motorsports. I just want to remind everybody that this was the site of Dale Jr.'s last win on gas mileage. So I think Hendrick Motorsports has something figured out with the fuel mileage.
Yeah, but, you know, what puzzles me, how does he make the kind of power he makes and yet still, you know, Tony Stewart last week and now today, Mark, how does he make the power and still get the fuel mileage?
One thing I know about Hendrick Motorsports, they are incredible with timing and fuel mixture. Sometimes they'll put more timing in, put big jets in, take timing out. They'll play with the fuel mixture to keep the power in the car. I've watched them do it in the garage area before. They are masters.
Well, whatever they're doing, it's working pretty well right now as they score yet another victory this season, the 3rd for Mark Martin. When we come back, we'll talk to Mark, and we'll take you from the green flag to the checkered flag to tell you exactly what transpired today over the course of 400 miles at Michigan.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Travelodge, Recreate, Hibernate, and brought to you by AutoZone, because do-it-yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And by NASCAR Banking, only from Bank of America. Your debit card, your credit card, your driver. Learn more at a Bank of America Banking Center.
Welcome back, everyone, to Michigan's Victory Lane, where Mark Martin has claimed his 3rd victory of the season in just the 15th race of the season. And more importantly, as we get closer and closer to the chase, there has been a huge shakeup in the point standings right now. Mark Martin started the day outside of the top 12 and moved inside. Let's take you back to the green flag as we started out. And it was the pole, the front row was occupied by a couple of Toyotas. The Joe Gibbs Toyota of Kyle Busch was on the outside, and Brian Vickers, for the 3rd time this season, started the race on the pole.
Yeah, and what shocked me was the 83 was never a factor. He didn't get a good start here, and he never led a lap. And there, Kyle Busch is patented, moved quickly to the outside, put the power down on that M&M's Toyota, and get it going.
Now, depending if you're a Jimmie Johnson fan, you might say, you know, this is not good or this is very good. The 48 takes the lead, and it wasn't but, you know, 10 or 20 laps into this thing where he had brought his lead up to almost 7 seconds over Kyle Busch. A 7-second lead, Kenny Wallace.
And I believe after the last practice session yesterday, nobody really seen this coming. We knew that Jimmie Johnson would be really there for the win, but it was all Mark Martin in the last half hour, so this did catch everybody off guard.
All right, so as we get the pack fanning out and cars getting in a single file line right now, you see Joey Logano beating and banging in there, and that wasn't good for his race car.
No, he did a lot of damage there, but he got himself in a situation, it really wasn't his making. He just was trying to make a move on the inside of the 26, and then another car come up, and that happens off turn 4 a lot. Fortunately, he did a great job saving that car, didn't tear up anybody else, and he went to live on with it.
This is a battle for second place as the Biff shows he's going to be a force today.
Yeah, you know, there's a stranger there. Casey Kane hasn't showed himself a whole lot this year, but the Biff, you knew just a matter of time before he got his act together. Now, here's Allmendinger, and I don't understand. Watch this save. Whoa, something's broke on this car because, you know, that's very strange for the 44 Stanley Dodge.
He was basically facing towards the infield. Looked like he was going to do some landscaping there, but he made it out. All right, now it's time for some green flag pit stops because, you know, this was a very clean race, clean and green, and it put to the test some of the best in the business. These over-the-wall guys, they had to get their cars out fast.
And this is exactly what Michigan's all about. You're watching these pit stops. This is green flag pit stops, and this is what it's always about. I mean, it comes down every single time we come into Michigan, green flag pit stops.
All right, there's the number 14 car of Tony Stewart, and they have a little bit of slowness on the front right, but Tony got on the radio afterwards and said, hey, good job, guys, good recovery.
That you got to give this guy a lot of credit. Here's the owner of the team plus the driver, but he says, hey, you know what, guys? Good shape here, little mistake, but a good recovery because he knows it could have been a lot worse. A loose lug nut, could have been a lap penalty. So all in all, Tony rallying his troops, coming back for a good run.
Troubles continue for David Reagan as the number 6 goes for a little strange spin there. Not a spin, but a strange trip. And now the number 48 is continuing to dominate this race. This was about the point where his lead went between 5 and 7 seconds. He was simply dominating, and it looked like this was going to be Jimmy Johnson's day. But as we saw in the end of this thing, not always does the guy who dominates and leads the most laps go on to win this race.
No, and of all the races I've watched this year, I guess this is the 15th one. That was the most dominant performance I've seen this year. And it's very unfortunate, you know, Kenny, this 48 team, you don't want to see anybody have bad luck, but to miscalculate the gas mileage like that and rob a guy of victory, we won't ever remember that because all we'll do remember is Mark Martin won this race today.
And I would have to say that when we come to Michigan the next time, we'll have to be prepared for the next thing that happens, and it has taught us that, look, whoever's leading with 5 to go, he might run out of gas. So Michigan has taught us that. I'm kind of stunned that they all missed it that much. Now, the Biff missed it by a half a lap, but of course the 48 misses it by 1 full lap. So I guess next time we come here, we know it's going to be gas mileage. Why? 2 times in a row this race. You know, even Jeremy Mayfield won on gas. It just never ends right here.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back here, we're going to talk to Mark Martin, and also we'll take you through the rest of the highlights from this 400-miler rather today at Michigan. Hard wrecks and road courses don't normally go together, but Monday on Twin, you'll see some of the wildest and most breathtaking incidents ever at Infineon Raceway. Living race cars are not uncommon on this high-speed road course. Michael Waltrip and Chad Knaus join Steve Burns on This Week in NASCAR, Monday at 8 Eastern, only on Speed. And if you want to know exactly what went on inside of the number 48 team today, that's the place to go to because Chad Knaus will no doubt explain what happened to the 48 team today. Now let's get back to lap 101 and take you through the rest of the highlights from today's race. We're bunched back up again. Double file restarts. Kenny Wallace, shootout style.
Oh, I love it. And you know what? Look here, immediately, guys, we're seeing 3 and 4 wide racing. But here, on this restart, Greg Biffle isn't leading. The 48 took the outside lane. Very interesting. We saw that last week at Pocono, and it continued today here at Michigan.
You know, I'd like to just say one thing. No longer can we go, that lap car gets in the way. Yeah. These are all up front cars, no complaining anymore, no more lap cars up front.
And perfect evidence why these race car drivers like this track so much. As we see, is that Clint Boyer getting loose?
Ooh, yeah, he clips the right front corner of David Gillen in the 71.
There's some good 3-wide racing between Hornish and Logano and the 39 and Newman. Good
basically no harm.
Newman.
Basically no harm, no foul.
Look at this.
How about 4 wide?
How about
4 wide?
Look at that. Only at Michigan. We talked about it on race day this morning. You're going to see 3 and 4 wide racing, and there it is.
That is funny.
That is funny.
That is
them double file restarts.
Shootout style.
Actually, isn't that quadruple file there?
Yeah, oh, now you're really confusing us.
Let's take a look at the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 21 as well. You know, Wood Brothers are the winningest group at this racetrack, and Bill Elliott did him a good job today.
And Spence, what is going on with this 50-year-old thing? You know, this man right here, Bill, at 53 years old, awesome Bill from Dawsonville. I mean, what a good job today.
Yeah, you know, this team's on a part-time schedule, and you know, it's ironic that you know, they're getting all the help from the Roush team, but yet the Wood Brothers and Roush, 10 wins each here at this team, tied
right
here at Michigan.
Bright spot for Juan Pablo Montoya as he's running fourth, Jimmy.
Yeah, and Juan Pablo, you know, you never know how to take this guy. We had him on our show this morning, and he was talking to us a little bit. Very calm and collective. You know, he thinks he had a good car, and he didn't have a good car last week. He finished in the top 10.
Look at David Stremme.
Oh, here we go. David Stremme.
He's thinking, I've spun this car, and look, I got all this room.
Oh,
bam.
yes.
He catches the only wall in the vicinity. Look, I mean, all this room, and then here comes he's no.
I have a little advice for David Stremme. I think that this guy is a very talented driver, but he needs to retract off that throttle and just be a little bit more patient with this race car, a little more calmer, and I think he'll show a lot better signs of a successful driver.
Good driver and good team. They just need to get a little break going their way. And let's take a look at another restart as towards this point in the race, we were getting to see really that Jimmy Johnson was going to dominate, or at least it looked that way.
Well, and the Biffle in the 5 car beat 48 out of the pits, but here goes the 48 on the outside, Kenny, Mark for second.
Yeah, I really want to talk about this right here. I think this is where Mark Martin says, okay, I've got to start looking at my gas situation.
And, you know, can you think back to Phoenix when he was driving for DEI? He was very upset. He had Phoenix won, and they would not let him stay out. And he said, I knew I had enough fuel mileage. And Jimmy Johnson won that race at Phoenix when Mark was driving for DEI at Phoenix. And, you know, Mark said, I could save the fuel. And I think you're right. He did save the fuel right then he started.
Close quarters on the wide track for the 48 and the 16, but Greg Biffle was able to wrestle the position away and lead Jimmy Johnson.
Well, Jimmy went low, couldn't get it, got real loose. So Jimmy's thinking, okay, what do I got to do right now? So I'll try it. Let's see if I can cut through the middle. So this time he makes the pass exiting. I'm going to tell you what, you got to have control of your car because he couldn't get it done entering. Now he gets it done on exit.
Impressive move right there, fans.
Okay, so after leading 146 laps, I believe was the total, Jimmy Johnson gets up, says he's going to win. Nope, ain't going to happen. He is out of gas, goes from running first back to 22nd. That is a bummer for the number 48, and Chad Knaus probably just couldn't believe what was going on at that time. They just didn't have the luck of the Irish Hills on their side, so it looks like it's Biffle's race to win, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, I agree. I think 16's got this race won. Here he goes. He's on cruise control right. Whoa! He ran out of
There's
fuel
the
on
bobble.
the back straightaway. Well, who's that, Kenny?
Mark, the kid Martin, takes the lead, enter turn 3. He's low off of turn 4. Can he make it? He wins it.
He's got enough gas, had enough gas to make it all the way over here to victory lane. So Mark, the kid Martin, at 50 years old, gets his 3rd win of the season in just 15 starts so far. And let's take a look at where everybody finished up in what turned out to be a very wild race. It looked like it was going to be pretty predictable, but it was Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, teammates there, and a great finish for the number 11 and Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Carl Edwards, I'll tell you what a great move by him. He was running about 9th, 8th, 9th there, and he come all the way up to 4th. Greg Biffle dropped from 1st to 5th. Juan Pablo, a solid run, 8th last week, 6th this week, and we're going to Infinity next week, Kenny.
Yeah, here we are, Jamie. Hey, good run for Jamie McMurray, but the biggest run that has been needed all year long is for Elliott Sadler. Elliott Sadler, this has got to feel like a win to him.
Top 15 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He finished 14th. A good finish for David Reagan as well. There were some guys that definitely needed it. And look at Jimmy Johnson. Goes from leading on the final lap back to the 22nd position.
And Sam Hornish ran better than that. He had to make a green flag pit stop with about 30 laps to go.
Yeah, and here these guys here just didn't run strong all day long. Marcus Ambrose, not as good a run as I thought he'd have. You know, Max Pappa still plugging along here. And, you know, making these races, but not too good to finish 35th, 36th, and 8th. You know, and these guys here just decided to park their cars for the day.
Sterling Marlin, Joe Nemechek, and Tony Raines round out the field of 43 finishers here in the backyard of Detroit, the Motor City. Let's now take a look at the championship standings. And here was your biggest mover, and the guy we're going to be talking to in just a moment, up 5 spots to the 8th position, is Mark Martin. Remember, before today's race, he was 1 point outside of top 12.
Yeah, you know, here you go. Look at Childress' team. Very tough. He had him on the show today. He was excited about today's race. Well, you know what? Burton didn't have a good run all the way back to 12th in the points. And you know what? None of his cars ran that strong today at all. So the only one, the 33 car, got 10th. But that was the only bright side for Childress. He's got a lot of work to do.
It is a dream season so far for Mark Martin. He'll join us in just a moment, but next weekend, starting on Friday, the NASCAR action heads to Infineon for the first road course race of the season. Can Tony Stewart continue his strong start, or will Kyle Busch return to Victory Lane in Sonoma? Don't forget, NASCAR on Speed, be there, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Well, there's an old adage in racing that goes, you got to be there at the end if you want a chance to win it. Anything can happen before the checkered flag waves, and we saw Mark the Kid Martin do exactly that today. What a surprising win to all the fans that were out there, Mark, but you got to think that you have a chance. If no one knows, no one was sure how far they could go on fuel.
Well, they weren't, and we knew we were short, and, you know, I had a great race car, and it allowed me to save fuel today. At Pocono, I didn't. I got a bad restart, and I went from 5th to 11th, and I couldn't save fuel. I couldn't. Everybody in the field was going to pass me, so I was in that box. But today, we got a great restart on the last restart. The car was really working well, and I could coast it in the corner a little too fast, and it would still turn. And I started saving fuel after about the 3rd lap on that last restart. And I really wanted to win, but I really needed to finish. We're in such a hole because we had so much bad luck this year with the points thing. And, you know, we really would love to make that chase and take advantage of these bonus points. So I just opted to, I couldn't run that pace and save gas. So I kind of let them go on and run their deal, you know.
And, you know, Mark, I guess that's what I want to get at. You know, the new structure of this point system that the Sprint Cup has is very critical, that you have to be in this top 12. So that's always on your mind. I mean, you know that's the big nut at the end of the day.
It is, and, you know, we wouldn't, if we hadn't had so much trouble early in the season, we wouldn't be worried about it, you know. But we're outside looking in this week, you know, coming into this race. And, you know, we're right there, and we've got great teams and great drivers vying for that spot. There's about 6 or 8 of us that are going to be a dogfight to get in there. And, you know, for us, we just can't afford to stump our toe anymore. We've had too many, you know, failures and setbacks, you know. The car's fast enough, but, you know, we're back there now, and we've got to keep putting in solid runs until we can get some breathing room.
Mark, when you win, you're so mild-mannered, no burnouts, you just get out of the car. But today, I looked and seen some, I said, that's not Mark. You got out of the car and you pumped your fist. Tell me what that was all about. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was different. Well, I couldn't do the thing with the flag because I ran out of gas, right? and the battery was dead. The battery's been dead for 100 laps, so it wouldn't even...
Look at this. Here we go. Yes!
Yeah, there you go.
Love it. Hey,
the fans loved it.
Those surprise wins are great. I think they're good for the fans, and they're great for us, too. But the battery wouldn't spin the motor over even to get it in victory lane. So, you know, I had to do something different, show my emotion a little.
Hey, Mark, it had to be a little bit emotional for you to look up in this crowd. Usually at the end of a race, people head for the exits. But this time, when you pulled into victory lane, that whole front grandstand was still full.
Well, it's really cool. You know, I've won a number of races here and had a great time. Even won an ASA race here back in the 80s with Jim Finnig and all the guys. So, you know, this place is really cool. This is a great place to race on.
You know, Mark, you've had a lot of success in this sport, but what makes the Hendrick team different?
It is the way it's the people, and it's the people's attitude. It's not just the people, it's the people's attitude, and it all starts with Mr. Hendrick. You know, everybody is happy there that I deal with. You know, I don't deal with anyone at Hendrick Motorsports that isn't really happy at their job. And that's really important. I think it allows them to excel. So the feeling that you get when you're around these guys is just always, you know, it's uplifting.
And Mark, this is kind of a dream season still for you. You got to go all the way back to 1998 to find the last time you won 3 races in a season.
Man, it's cool. This is a dream come true. And, you know, after qualifying 32nd on Friday, I went to the coach and laid down, and I thought, I hope Rick doesn't fire me. You know, and then we went out Saturday. It's a rocket ship. I mean, it was like I had the most fun in practice I've had in forever. You know, the car was awesome, and it was fun today. We didn't have to win this race today to have fun. The car was fun. I passed a lot of cars, and we just did a great job of executing the race. And, you know, we got great gas mileage with our Chevrolet there. And I had the handling that it took to be able to soft pedal the thing, and when Jimmy ran out, I got down here to turn 1. I came on the radio and I said, I'm going to run hard. I mean, he's right there in front of me. What can happen? You know, surely I won't run out, you know. So I just slammed it to the floor and ran through that corner real hard. And when I came off the corner, I thought, man, I'm catching him fast. He was out of gas, that's why.
Hey, well, Mark, the results were great. Congratulations, good job. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you back here again soon.
Thank you, guys.
That's Mark Martin with his 3rd win of the season and part of our Bank of America Victory Lane celebration. We want to congratulate Mark Martin for winning and the NASCAR banking only from Bank of America. All in today's work for the number 5 team. They got a win and a huge boost in the Sprint Cup points as we now are 15 races into the season, and this number 5 car has been to victory lane 3 times. And one of the guys who engineered that victory for sure is crew chief Alan Gustafson. Now, Mark got out here and he told us that he started saving fuel on lap number 3. How bad were you beating on him all day to save it?
Bad. As soon as that caution came out, we knew. Pocono, we got burned. You know, those guys made it. We didn't make it. We lost our track position and couldn't save. So as soon as that caution came out and we were about 4 short, said, hey, Mark, you know, when we get gas, start saving, buddy. And he's pretty paranoid of running out. He's run out his fair share in his career, so I didn't have to beat on him too hard. He was ready to save.
You know, Alan, you and Mark had the mentality to say, okay, we're not going to do like, you know, Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson. You know, you get in that hyperactive situation. We got to win. We got to win. How did you not get in that situation and train yourself to take a good finish?
I think the biggest difference is, well, first I feel like we probably wouldn't have won if Chad wouldn't have gone and Jimmy wouldn't have gone and pushed that 16. So the biggest difference for us, we're 13th, 1 point out of the chase. He's 4th. You know, how many points in the chase? They could afford it. They could go hard. They could go for a win. You know, they're not locked in, but for all practical purposes, you know, they're in really good position. We're not. So we had to save. We knew it. We needed a good finish. And we knew, hey, you know, we almost got the exact same car as Jimmy. Setup shows the exact same. We know the motor's the same. The bodies are the same. So we said, hey, man, you know, he can go hard, try to win it. If he doesn't win it that way, maybe we'll win it on gas.
Awesome.
You know, Alan, when you look at the Hendrick team, you know, Mark just always brings this car home. No scratches, no dents. I mean, it's just impressive over his career. He never seemed to tear anything up.
Well, the most impressive thing is, you know, there's guys that don't tear stuff up. Mark flies, you know.
Yeah, he's
this
so
guy
fast.
is a
I like
rocket
that.
ship.
You're right.
You know, I mean, he's a rocket ship. He drove from 32nd to the 3rd, basically under green every time, and no scratches on it. I mean, he has such incredible car control, such a good race car driver, so talented. You know, you can't say nothing about him. But yeah, Jimmy, he's very impressive.
Now, if you guys are fortunate enough to make this chase, you guys will start out with a minimum, at least, 30-point bonus. That has to be a great feeling.
That is a great feeling, and you know, we're up there with Kyle now, and we have 30, or you know, 3 wins, same as the 18, and you know, the 48 I guess has got 2, and the 17's got 2. So we're in good company. You know, we're with the cars we need to be with, and like to get a couple more. But you know, realistically, I think somebody's probably going to win 5 or 6 races. You know, last year I think Kyle had 8 going, and it may happen, who knows, but that's a lot. So I think we're going to be in good shape. You know, get a couple more, we'll be in real good shape.
You know, Monday morning comes, and now we're going to Sonoma, and then the following Monday we're going to go to New Hampshire. When you and Mark sit down and talk, do you guys say, like, okay, I don't run good at this place, or, you know, I look forward to this place? What are some of the things you guys get ready for in the future?
Yeah, he's, you know, he's got a really good understanding about every place we race, and I'll talk to him tomorrow, and he'll tell us how bad our car was here.
Qualifying.
The things that were bad about it, and we'll make good notes on how to fix it. And then we'll talk about Sears Point and some issues, you know, that I feel like are going to come up. And Mark will tell me some of the places he struggled with. He told me, you know, he's like, man, I haven't road raced in these cars, and he was concerned about it. And we went to Road Atlanta, and of course, you know, just in Mark Martin style, he's fast, flying around that place. You're like, this guy's incredible. So looking forward to it. I like Sears Point. Of course, we know the gas is going to be a big deal, so we'll be saving from lap 1 there.
Hey, maybe you can shed a little bit of information on us. What's going on with this test at Indy? Are you part of it, or why are they doing it?
We're not part of it. We were fortunate enough to go last year with Mark at the end of the season. We haven't gone back. I don't know exactly. Well, I do know some of the problem. The problem is if you get a tire that's going to last, the track doesn't take a rubber. The soft tire that won't last, the track will take that rubber. So they've got to go make sure that they're right in between, and Goodyear is in a tough spot. You know, they've got to be perfect to where that track takes rubber, but the tires don't wear out. And, you know, the difference in that, you know, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 laps. So they've got some really good guys going. You know, I know Jeff Gordon, who I think's won there how many times? 4 times, 40 times, who knows? So he's going, and so I'm sure he'll get a good read
Can
on it.
everybody go?
No, I don't think so.
You can't go, Kenny.
Kenny, I don't know.
I think
he's asking for himself.
I was going to say, I think Kenny's ready to go. We'll get you a
Take my
Chevy rental
Nationwide
car
car.
around there, and we'll see what we got.
All right, well, congratulations on the win here today. You guys got momentum. 15 races, 3 victories so far for this number 5 team. Congratulations to Alan Gustafson and his team. We're going to take another quick break here from Michigan, but when we come back, we'll talk to some of the other drivers that figured in today to the 400-miler here at Michigan.
Thursday night wrecked is all new. O'Hare must tow a bridge across an icy pond, and disaster looms when the ice beneath begins to break. Don't miss an all-new episode of Wrecked, Life in the Crash Lane, Thursday night at 10 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Now here in Michigan, the home state of Johnny Benson, and everybody on Speed wants to send their best wishes out to Johnny B. He was involved in a wreck in a non-NASCAR race last night. He has a couple of broken ribs. He's banged up, but he's going to be okay. JB, we wish you the best. Now we're going to turn our sights back to the Cup race here at Michigan, and it was Greg Biffle who almost had the victory, but came up just a little bit short. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Disappointment, that's the only way to describe Greg Biffle's finish here at Michigan. You got a smile on, which is a good thing, but I know you're disappointed.
Oh, I am. I wanted to get a win up here in the Motor City for Ford. You know, they've been so good to us, and they've done such a great job. I'm so excited about driving a Ford Fusion. The engines ran great today. We had great fuel mileage. Certainly would have made it with the program we were running, but the 48 came up there and just run us down and wanted to go. So I had to pick the pace up and run with him. And then I decided, you know, I'm not going to make it if I run this hard. I backed it down. I saw he was really loose, so I said, I got to go get him, you know. So I tried to run him back down, and we just ran out on the back stretch. So I wish I would have stuck with my program and just stayed in front of the 5, and I would have won the race. So my fault, you know. It's instinct, you know. You got to go with your gut. And today I was thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't try for the win, try for second, and just make it. And I didn't do that, and it cost me the win probably.
Greg shaking it on the backstretch. It looked like it picked up some fuel there and almost got going again, but then just totally ended for you.
Yeah, it did. I shut it off down here in the front. I saw the fuel light come on. So I shut it off and coasted around 1 and 2 and fired it up on the backstretch and gave it as much of a run down the back as I could. And, you know, looking back, I might have probably should have run it, you know, a little bit on the corner to pick the fuel up instead of just down the backstretch. So I need to work on that technique. I don't think it was enough to make the line, though.
I'll tell you what, good to see Greg Biffle smiling. He hasn't won now in 23 races.
Ifs and buts are such a tough part of racing, but you know what, guys? Drivers like Greg Biffle are built to go fast. They're not built to lay back.
Now, you know, Johnny, though, discipline's very important. We saw it on Jerry Logano's car today that he didn't even know that they were putting that in. And to be disciplined, Mark Martin was disciplined today and won the race. Tony Stewart disciplined last week and won the race. It is hard. Greg Biffle, one thing about him, I love him, man, he will push the throttle. Got off track, he ends up coming up a little bit short, but you know what? You can't never take credit away, Kenny. That guy will push the pedal. Still got home with a top 5 finish. You know, still solidly in the top 12 in points.
And there's so many different scenarios. You know, Jimmy Johnson has already won a lot of races this year. Mark the Kid Martin's already won a lot of races. But when you look at the Biff ain't won a race in 24 races. He wants it. So it's hard to say, well, I'm going to save some fuel. He wants to win. And, you know, it was really close. But, hey, 5th for, you know, Greg Biffle, 22nd for Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, nobody comes out here to finish second. You want to win these races, especially heading into the chase for the championship, because it means 10 bonus points. Now, from here in Michigan, the Truck Series is heading out to Milwaukee, which is Algonquian for the good earth. And Friday on Speed, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series heads to one of racing's most historic venues, the Milwaukee Mile. In the season of fantastic finishes and huge wrecks, you just can't miss a lap. NASCAR on Speed, be there. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of Richard Petty's 200th win, Daytona International Speedway has announced 2 great ways to celebrate the 4th of July weekend. Enter to win the 2009 King for a Day VIP sweepstakes hosted by the King himself, as well as purchase specially priced $43 Daytona front stretch tickets. For more information on both Daytona promotions, visit speedtv.com, keyword promo, or call 1-800
pit shop. Today at the Michigan International Speedway, it was Mark Martin that was definitely the king for the day. And part of that reason was the fact that Jimmy Johnson ran out of gas while leading on the last lap. Let's hear from Jimmy about his bitter disappointment.
You know, I'm trying to look at the bright side of things because we had such a dominant car and passed second and third and went up to get the lead. And it's unfortunate we ran out of gas. You know, that's how it is. I guess if we would have held back, we would have finished second or third, and I guess maybe the 16 would have run out and I still would have won. But I can't be disappointed with the fuel. The 48 car, myself, whatever it is, we don't get the best fuel mileage, and we're always fast. So I'll take being fast and lose some every now and then to fuel mileage. It sounded like we were pretty good. So I was a little shocked that we ran out. You know, I did have to work the car really hard to get through traffic and catch Smart and get by him, and the same with the 16. So through that, I must have used up more fuel than we thought we would have.
So Jimmy Johnson comes up just a little bit short, but I like the way that Alan Gustafson and Mark Martin told us about this earlier. It was probably the fact that they were running fourth in points coming in here that determined their race strategy.
Well, it's a trickle-down effect. And what I mean is you heard Jimmy go, you know, maybe if I'd have saved gas, then I'd have won because the Biff ran out of gas. Well, no, Jimmy, because we just interviewed the Biff, and the Biff said, I was going to save fuel, but Jimmy was going fast. So, listen, it's really funny to listen to the interviews and then put them all together because afterwards we know the effect. But that's why, you know, it was a game of chicken, race fans, is what it was.
Well, I happen to agree with you because, you know, the Biffle was sitting there riding us, watching the clock. He slowed down about a second a lap, and Jimmy did too. And then I think it's like, I can't take this any longer.
I got to go.
And that's what Jimmy did, and he gets up there and he starts mixing up, and Mark Martin's going, ha, 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 ha.
You
and
dummies.
that's why Mark won.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah,
Discipline, and you got to give him credit.
Yeah, Mark Martin was like Sanford and Son. You big dummies.
Yes, Fred Sanford, one of our finest actors ever. He often coined that phrase, you big dummy. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from a couple drivers who benefited from other drivers running out of fuel.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Travelodge, Recreate, Hibernate. Brought to you in part by the new 2010 Ford Fusion. Get in and drive one. And by Priceline, where you can find half-price hotels every day.
Welcome back, everyone, to Michigan's Victory Lane, where Mark Martin took the checkers today. But his teammate Jeff Gordon had an awesome view of what was going on, the drama that was enveloping in front of him. And now he also got a great finish as well. Let's go back to Bob.
I'm sure at the end of this race, mixed emotions for Jeff Gordon. He wants to see his teammate win. One runs out of gas, another one winds up in victory lane, and you're just trying to make it to the finish.
Well, you know, when you start 43rd, coming home second is almost as good as a victory. I'm really proud of all the guys in this DuPont National Guard Chevrolet. I want to thank the NCO. This is the year of the NCO. Proud to have them on board. Another great finish for those guys, too. So we're having fun, man. What an incredible team effort it was today. And ever since the engine problems on Friday, this team has just put it into high gear. Car's been great. Took a lot of great pit stops and some great strategy and thinking and calls on Steve Letart's part. But, man, I'm excited. This is a great day for us. You know, we had a top 5 car, which is something to be proud of. And then, you know, we had the fuel mileage there at the end as well.
You went into victory lane, one of the first people to congratulate Mark Martin. What'd you tell him? 3 wins now in the season for that guy.
I said, old man, you snookered us again. He's just such a great race car driver and a great person, and he's such a smart race car driver. You know, we love having him at Hendrick Motorsports. He's showing all us other guys how to do it and how to get it done. So really proud of Alan and all the guys on that Kellogg Chevrolet. CarQuest, I think, maybe too. But I want to just say congratulations to those guys. They've worked really hard to get themselves in this position, and Mark is, you know, that final little piece that's taken him to victory lane now 3 times.
2 straight top 5 finishes for Jeff Gordon, and this one he really earned coming from the rear of the field guys.
Mark Martin could inspire Jeff Gordon to fix his sore back up and make it to 50 years old. I mean, it is incredible what Jeff Gordon said about Mark Martin, but let's talk about Jeff Gordon himself. 50, you know, over 50 wins. I mean, it's climbing up to 70 or something. This guy's got 4 championships, and he starts 43rd and gets second. But what I was most impressed with Jeff Gordon today was I was watching him. He was really fast. If he could have ever just got really good track position, I think he had a shot at winning this thing. Here we are, Jeff, I mean, he rocketed to the front all day long. But it was smooth and silky and just painless for him. And all of a sudden, you look at the scoreboard, and he finishes second. That is Jeff Gordon, a four-time champion.
43rd to second is an incredible day. Great job by that crew. You know, it's been 44 races since Denny Hamlin has visited Victory Lane. You got to go all the way back to Martinsville in 2008. So they definitely are knocking on the door of a win. It's been a long time for them. And as Bob Dillner tells us, it came close today.
Denny Hamlin, with all that bad luck over the last month or so, finally a little bit of good luck for you. You know, a lot of strategy here, fuel mileage game, and you wind up with a top 3 run.
Yeah, I mean, we needed it as a race team. We were falling fast in the points, but you know, it feels good for this whole FedEx Express team to finally do good on a fuel mileage race. But we had a top 5 car all day anyway, so that was rewarding. We brought a new car here, and it paid off.
Was there ever any concern late in the race when everybody else was falling by the wayside?
Concerned that maybe I was just running too hard, too soft at times. I mean, you know, I got within about 10 car lengths of the 5 with about 10 to go, and it was like, man, you know, he's running a lot slower, so maybe I should back my pace down. And you know, that's kind of the way out, you know, thing that you have is, do you want to go for a win? You want to go for a finish? And you know, we just had to make sure we finished.
Good to see Denny Hamlin back in the top 5 for the first time in 8 races.
You know, when you hear these guys say about falling into points, you heard Mark Martin say, wow, you know, 13th coming in all the way up to 8th. You hear Denny Hamlin say that. You know, think back to last week. Denny Hamlin, always strong at Pocono. Back-to-back wins the same year and finishes. Well, he was the first car out. They fixed the car. He ended up finishing like 38th or something. Devastating. You know, here he is. Look at this. This is the second lap of the race, fans. These guys are concerned about these points. He's sitting in the car saying, what in the heck is going on here? This is all about the championship. And what we heard Denny just say, 3rd today, new car. They needed it pretty bad. So at the end of the day, Kenny, this top 12, they could say it's not on the back of their mind. It's on the front of their mind. If you're going to be the Sprint Cup champion, you need to be in the top 12 at the end of 26 races.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about, is these guys getting to, you know, the top 12. Now, you know, we're looking at guys like, you know, Carl Edwards. You know, he's a guy down there in the bottom 12. And, you know, so right now it's all about just getting in the top 12.
Well, another Roush car, rather, that was in the top 5 at the end of this one was the 99 of Carl Edwards. They, too, are looking for a win, but they definitely will take good finishes when it comes to the championship chase. Let's go back to Bob Dillner.
They are the words that every driver does not want to hear. When crew chief Bob Osborne came on and said, you got to save fuel, man. Tell me about it.
Hey, man, every one of these fans and everybody at home has to save fuel, you know, for what it costs right now. I'm just glad to be driving a Ford. We get the best fuel mileage out there, and I know Greg was just racing so hard. You know, this finish, this ain't about me and my fuel mileage. It's about the 16, and he beat Jimmy. He just didn't beat Mark, and man, it's so tough to make those calculations in the car and do everything and still try to race for a win. So too bad we didn't get a Ford in victory lane, but you know, Mark did a great job, and our Aflac team running 4th, that's good points for us.
I was going to say, tell me about you. It wasn't a perfect day, but it was an okay day for you here at Michigan, Carl.
Oh, it was ugly for us. That car does not belong in 4th place, so you know, we're very fortunate. That's a good run at Dover, good run at Pocono, good run here. I'm excited to go to Sonoma, and the key right now is to get in that chase. But you know, Mark's my ride home, so I guess I have to wait a little while right now. But he's my ride out to the airport. He's a good guy, though, and you know, he's a good guy, and that's cool to see him win.
4 straight top 10 for Carl Edwards.
Yeah, and top 10s are going to get you into that championship chase. With 15 races down now, we have 11 to go. And, Kenny, they've all said it today. They're looking at the points right now.
I kind of like watching Victory Lane here in speed. We're watching with you, fans, and the theme we're hearing throughout this Victory Lane show is top 12. You know why? We've got 15 down. There's only 11 to go to the 26th race. That determines. Hey, tell me, Spence, I know you're excited.
I'm excited. You know why? Because Kenny can start doing this.
10 to go. 9 to go.
He's going to have to wait.
But, you know.
Another race, though.
Yeah, you have to wait one more.
Jana TV. That's what they're all talking about right now. I mean, listen to everybody. Those guys, you know, that are down there, they're like, we need to make the race for the chase. Now, race fans, Spence, we all like racers. We want people to stand on the gas. But look, run out of gas or not make the race for the chase. What do you think?
Well, you know, I want to say this, that this sport, when they started this concept, everybody's saying this isn't a good idea. I disagree. First year, it was okay. Second year was a little bit better. Think about what Mark Martin said. There's 6 to 8 guys racing for 13th to 12th. We have the best field of cars we've ever had racing for this top 12. So that, I'm not that smart in math, but 12 and 8 would be 20. Earnhardt was 20th
Got that right.
in. And what my point, we're going to have 8 guys at the end of Richmond, Kenny, that did not make the chase.
You know, and I'm going to tell you what, next week at Sonoma could just totally blow everything out. I mean, what, we're going to have a double file restart.
Shootout style.
And I think next week, if you watch NASCAR Victory Lane right here on Speed, we're going to report on something big. You know why? Because all those road course guys are going to get in there and take the points away from these guys up in the top 12.
They're going to try. But you know what the thing about what we're hearing, we're seeing more and more. Gas mileage. Carl Edwards didn't have a good car. Denny Hamlin, a new car. Mark Martin, excited about going next week. We're hearing different scenarios playing out week in and week out.
And what you see in years past is that you could throw away a road course. They say, hey, it doesn't matter what we do on the road course, but now the points are so important and so crucial that you have to do well on the road course to win a championship.
And I'm just so excited to say what I want to. 2 years ago, Tony Stewart's going to win at Sears Point. He runs out of gas, and you know, Juan Pablo wins his only race on gas mileage. Now this guy right here, Kyle Busch, he just dominated, and gas did not come into play.
He had the road course sweep last year.
And, you know, let's talk about this. How about Juan Pablo? 8th last week, 6th of this week, going to the road course where he has won. I'll tell you what, Kenny, you know, I'm excited about Sonoma next week. I'm excited about the next 11 races because if you're not in here and you're not in this top 12, you're going to the house.
Yeah, and Greg Biffle was the first one to point it out. He said he saw it both ways. He saw it from inside the chase, and he said you're the man. When you're outside of the chase, you're a second-class citizen, so you want to be there.
And I'm going to tell you, you know, when I look at these points, you know, we're getting ready to do the big show, and we look down and we go, oh, my gosh, you know, Martin Truex is not in the top 12, you know. And you start seeing some of these big names, it's going to be exciting.
So we want to say congratulations once again to Mark Martin and the number 5 team for winning here at Michigan and bringing the bragging rights home to Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet this time around near the Motor City. Now we're going to pack it up and head out west to Sonoma for a little road course racing. And we want to say thanks once again to everyone here at the Michigan International Speedway who were so hospitable to us today and put on a great show in the end. Let's look in the rearview mirror.
We here at Speed love the hell out of all of you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, this is the Big 3 country, baby!
Detroit, baby!
Adding fuel to the fire.
I got no issues with Junior. It's his fans that are crazy.
Is that Junior? Junior!
I need no practice for that. I'm a pro.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
The fans on their feet.
David
Stremme. Oh, here we go. David Stremme.
All I need is a cup of coffee and these boots. That's all I need. I'm going to get fired.
If we're this close, I'm going to run hard.
Oh, no!
Well, this is a great place to race.